The Long Game has a pretty rushed ending, in my opinion. I don't know if this is a common opinion from what I've seen. People tend to really enjoy The Long Game. Not that I didn't. It's more like I wanted a little more from it that I think it didn't really manage to give in some ways. One of the things it didn't do for me was the conflict resolution between Shane and Ilya. For me, it felt like the whole first half of the book, it was building up to Shane and Ilya finally communicating, talking to each other about the problems they each have, and finally actually understanding each other's struggles in a way they couldn't have understood before because they just weren't really talking to each other properly. We had so many moments where they were clearly not on the same page at all. Misunderstandings, places where they were clearly holding back their feelings in order not to rock the boat of their relationship. So the whole time when they reached that place where they were supposed to be good, I was expecting an actual real conversation that I could read where I could actually see them talking out their problems. Maybe Ilya can talk about the dreams he's been having about his mother, about his depressive episodes, how isolated he's been feeling, about how he doesn't think he's good enough for Shane. Why do we get a mock scene where Ilya tells us what Shane would say and not a scene where Shane actually says it? Maybe Shane can talk about his clear anxiety and shame about being gay, talk about how his team has been treating him strangely since he's come out to them, or something, right? But that's not what we got. Instead, we got the fucking plane crash. I hate the fucking plane crash. Or the almost plane crash, whatever. Not because I don't want these characters to go through plot or grief, because I baby them and don't want anything bad to happen to my little blorbos or whatever. Fuck that shit. I don't care. Make them miserable. They deserve it. They're fucking idiots. I'm joking, obviously. Shane's literally my favorite character. And both of them were being dumb during that fight, but I will always say that they were both under impossibly crushing pressure, and they each have very good reasons for that argument. No, I don't hate the almost fucking plane crash because I don't want sad things to happen to these characters. I hate it because I think it's such a fucking cop-out. Shane and Ilya had this huge fight. They were angry for valid reasons on both sides. Ilya's fucking isolated and lonely and so sad. He's left behind everything he's known, everything he was, and yes, he did it willingly, but that doesn't mean it wasn't still making him miserable. And Shane's fucking confused and pissed because Ilya agreed to the fucking plan of not coming out. Ilya's been telling him how much better Ottawa is, how much he loves being there, and when he asked Ilya if there was something wrong, he said no, so he believed him. But now he's shouting at him and accusing him and blaming him. As someone who is probably some version of neurospicy, I'm pretty sure my whole family is, but my mother once told me she thinks people with mental problems should just deal with all that stuff themselves and not bother others with it, so I would have said the stupidest fucking shit too. Well, first of all, I would have cried and then probably shouted at him for shouting at me, so I can't really blame Shane, can I? They were fighting and they needed to communicate and actually talk and listen to each other outside of that fight. But no. The plane almost crashes, and suddenly Shane feels the need to propose. Suddenly, they're engaged, and Shane wants to come out, and everything's all sunshine and rainbows. Do they talk about their problems afterwards? Fuck no. Communication? Who needs that? It's not like they had a whole argument they should actually hash out. No. We don't get to see the growth that Shane probably still needs to do in order to be okay with coming out. He literally decided to propose because he was worried Ilya would die before they could be out and be together, and he panicked at the thought of being married while playing hockey against each other. It's the dramatic shit you do in soap operas when you don't actually want to write your characters solving their problems or changing themselves organically. Instead, they have this life-changing event happen to them, and now they have a new perspective in life and change their ways because of that. It's bullshit, and the fact that they still don't communicate afterwards infuriates me. They both decided marriage was the solution to their problem. And then they get outed, making it so that they never actually talk about the problems they each clearly still have. Ilya immediately ghosting Galina for 5 weeks and coming back because he felt jealous of Troy and Harris's coming out cemented that, for me, the proposal was a poorly slapped-on bandage. And I thought him coming back to Galena meant that we would get Shane and Ilya actually talking about their problems with each other, but we didn't, and they just kept having sex. Which is fine, good for them. But can't they do it after talking to each other properly? There are small segments where they kind of talk to each other. Ilya tells Shane he's seeing a therapist a little after their fight, and then they apologize to each other through the phone. But they say they're going to talk to each other more when they actually get to meet face to face. And then the plane failure happens, and they just don't, really. Right after Ottawa loses the playoffs, Ilya tells Shane that he's depressed and that that's something he still needs to handle, right? And that's good. And I thought that would lead to a longer conversation about all the other stuff, but then they just fell asleep. God damn it, I know they're old, but they're not so old they can't have a proper conversation, right? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it would have been boring to have them talk to each other about every single problem they have, and that's why Reed didn't write it. But I think I just felt like that conversation was being so built up the whole time. I was reading the first 150 pages of the book, and I didn't get it, so I'm disappointed. I still really enjoyed the long game. I think their wedding was so perfectly them. I know some may have not liked how disorganized and abrupt the wedding felt, and I've seen the wedding vows in particular be a point of contention. But I feel like it really is so fitting for both Ilya and Shane. Weddings isn't something that everyone has to care about, and they both have problems expressing themselves in private, let alone having to do it publicly. What was important for me was them being able to do it with all the centaurs, with David and Yuna being there for them. Hayden and Jackie and his kids, even JJ and Rose and Svetlana. All of the important people in their lives being there and supporting them and loving them above all else. And I know so many people hate how Shane acts in this book, and some believe that it's out of character for him to do half the things he does. But I'm honestly 100% on Rachel's side on her characterization of his actions. Shane can be insensitive and a little self-centered sometimes, and that's fine. It's a character flaw. Every character needs one. And let's be real, Shane's been insensitive and a little bit self-centered since Heated Rivalry. It's not worth jumping over is funny, but still a little insensitive, no? Obviously, he didn't know Ilya's mom died from suicide, but maybe that's why people say he shouldn't really make those jokes. I like the long game. I just maybe would have liked a little bit more of Shane and Ilya talking to each other and learning more about each other. Maybe that could have been the vehicle for the readers to get to know Shane better as well, because that was a little lacking too, in my opinion. I feel kind of bad, because I know when Reed set out to write these books, they weren't supposed to be literary masterpieces. They were kind of horny books she thought some people could get a kick out of. And that's great, that's fine. But I do think the romance is like the main plot of these books, and I think that means that I probably can criticize how the romance is concluded. This whole video was inspired by a whole rant I did on Twitter, by the way. Clearly, I had opinions. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Next up, I just read Hayley Kyoko's novel, Girls Like Girls, because I saw the movie trailer and I just about died, so I wanted to talk about it a little, I think. Subscribe if you wanted to see that.